everyone. This tutorial is going to explain how to make circular logos that look kind of like these. We're going to start with learning how to make the text go around in a circle, and then we'll move on to how to make the actual circle itself and how to create the little symbols that go inside. So because we're going to start with the text, just download the circle that I attached to the web page, and we'll use that for now. Now the first thing we need to do is find exactly where the center of our circle is. And luckily that's easy to do. You're going to go up to the option at the top that says View, scroll down until you see Guides, and then click New Guide Layout. And then just make sure that the number of columns and number of rows is set to 2. This is going to divide our image into 4 pieces, and the intersection of those 2 guides will be exactly in the center of our image. The next thing we need to do is create the circular path that we want the text to follow. So I want you to go down to the ellipse tool on the toolbar. Now yours might be set to a line by default, so click and hold and you'll see the option for ellipse. Then I want you to go up to the toolbar, click on the little drop down menu on the left there and make sure that it says path and not shape. Then you need to go over to the little gear icon, click that, and make sure that the options for circle and the options for from center are both checked. So now we're ready to draw the circle, but we need to position our cursor right in the exact center where those 2 guidelines intersect. Zoom in so that your circle fills the screen. Hold Alt and use your mouse wheel to zoom. Then your cursor is going to look like this blue shape here with a crosshair and a little circle in the corner. You want to position your crosshair directly over where the guidelines intersect. Then you're going to click and drag and you will draw out a perfect circle that's centered around the middle of your image. Make your circle just a little bit bigger than the smaller white circle. So now you're going to go to the regular type tool and hover your cursor over top of that path that you just drew. You'll see that the cursor changes from having a box around it to having a little squiggly line go through the center. If you move inside the circle, you'll see a circle go around that cursor. If you click there, it'll fill the circle with text, which can be useful, but it's not what we want here. So when you see that little squiggly line going through the cursor, click and it'll put your text around the outside of your path. Now if you're trying to do this step and for whatever reason your path has disappeared, just go down to the corner beside the layers panel and click on where it says paths. Or if you don't see that, you can go up to window and select paths from there. That should show you a work path. Select that and your path should be visible again. So once you've got the filler text around your circle, you basically treat this like any other text. You type in your own message, you can change the font type, the size, the color, etc. There is an extra tool that you need to know in order to position your text properly though. Usually when you've got text on a circle, you want it to be centered. And so you want to make sure that your alignment up at the top is set to center. But that's going to center it around wherever you clicked when you clicked with the type tool. If you want to move that, you have to go to the path selection tool, which is the black arrow. And most of the time that cursor is just going to look like a black arrow. But if you move it over top of your text, it'll change into a text cursor with 2 little arrows on either side. When it looks like that, you can click and drag around the circle to set a new center point. It'll put a little point on the circle to show you where the new center point is, although it can be a little hard to see. If you drag or click near that guideline, it'll snap right to the line for you. Once you have that center point set in the middle, you can change the size or add new text and it'll automatically make sure it's centered for you. So adding a new layer of text to the same path takes an extra step. So if you just go to the type tool and try to hover over the path on the bottom, you'll see that the cursor just stays with that box around it. And that box tells you that you'll be creating a new line of text. If you want to create a new layer of text, you have to create the new layer first. So make a new empty layer, and then you're going to have to go and select the Path tab and highlight that work path again so that it shows up. At that point, you can now go back, hover your cursor over the path, and you'll see that curvy line on it. So you know when you type, you'll be typing on the circle. But if you notice, the text on the bottom of the circle is upside down, and that's not really useful. To fix that, go back to the Path Selection tool, that black arrow, hover over the text until you get that special cursor, and then you're going to click and drag inside the circle, and you'll notice that that will pull the letters inside the circle. Now they're the right side up. So it's super easy to change whether the text is inside the circle or outside. It just depends whether you click inside or outside. Alright, the last thing you need to know is just how to adjust where the text sits on your path. Because right now, that is the best, is kind of sticking inside the circle, which we don't want. First, you want to highlight the text, and you can do that as a shortcut by just double-clicking on the layer icon. Then you're going to open your character panel. If you don't see the shortcut there, go to Window and Character. And you're going to change the baseline of the text, and that controls whether the text sits on the line, above the line, or below the line. So if you put your cursor over top of the little A there, click and move side to side, you'll be able to see the text moving up and down in relation to that circular path. Just be aware that if you type a new layer of text, it's going to keep the same baseline value you had before. So you might want to go back and set that to 0. Okay, so this is how you can create multiple layers of text, all using a single circular path. That should give you a lot to play with. Try it out and get comfortable with that technique.